Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make an extremely easy peanut butter fudge using butter, peanut butter, icing sugar, plus a little vanilla and salt if you'd like to add them. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more homemade food. Let's get started. If you're following along, you'll also need some parchment paper, maybe a sifting tool, a pot or a microwave-safe bowl, and something sturdy like a wooden spoon to mix with. As for pan size, I'm using a loaf pan so I can have thicker pieces, but this fudge is very rich, so using an 8-inch square pan and spreading it thinner might work better for you. If you wanted to add a layer of chocolate at the end or some kind of topping, I would definitely pick a square pan instead. You can do this part in the microwave if you'd like, but full disclosure, I haven't owned a microwave in about 10 years, so your guess is as good as mine as far as time and power settings. To either a microwave-safe bowl or a pot on a stovetop, add 225 grams of butter and 250 grams of peanut butter, or about a half cup of each with a little extra peanut butter. Heat them on low until they've melted, or probably in 30-second increments and stirring if you're using a microwave, then set them aside for now. We'll want this mixture to be at least warm and at most hot for the next step so the sugar dissolves more easily. Speaking of sugar, now it's time to weigh out 1 pound or 454 grams of icing sugar. I think this might be about 3 cups if you don't have a scale. If you're not sure what icing sugar is, some places also call it powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar. It's just normal sugar that's been ground more finely and usually has some cornstarch added to it to act as an anti-caking agent. If you don't have any on hand, you can make your own by adding sugar and cornstarch to a blender cup and pulsing it a few times. I would probably start with 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and see how it looks, and add more as you need, but several search results suggest the perfect ratio is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch to 1 cup of sugar. But it's always easier to add more until it seems right than to add too much and be stuck with it. If you happen to have a sieve, now would be a great time to use it. My larger sieve fell apart recently, and all I have on hand is this tiny one that I use for things like keeping the seeds out of fresh squeezed lemon juice. I can't see any way that I can use this without making a huge mess, so I decided to try whisking the icing sugar to see if that would break up some of the large clumps. I wouldn't say it worked great, and it kind of kicked up a lot of inhalable sugar dust, but it worked well enough for fudge. If you can sift your icing sugar at this stage, it's going to make mixing in it a lot easier. Now's the time to add a splash of vanilla if you'd like to, and if you used unsalted butter earlier, you might want to consider adding a pinch of salt now. Salt really amplifies the flavor of peanut butter, but it's very much a personal preference on how much of it you like. I find using salted butter gives this fudge the perfect balance for my taste buds, but if you want more, you could always add a sprinkle of finishing salt on at the end. Add the icing sugar to your pot or bowl and keep mixing until everything is completely homogeneous. If things aren't quite warm enough to combine easily, you could try mixing it on the element on low or putting things back in the microwave, but I usually find just using brute force works the best here. You shouldn't have to mix nearly as aggressively as I am, but this is what I get for using a whisk instead of sifting my icing sugar correctly. If you found yourself in the same situation as me, I find it helpful to pile everything up as best you can, then use the back of your spoon to kind of crush apart any lumps of icing sugar that are left. Once you're satisfied that everything's come together, Line a pan of your choosing with parchment paper. As I said earlier, I like a thick cube of fudge, but if you want yours a little thinner and easier to bite into, an 8-inch square pan might suit your needs better. I bought a 3-pack of parchment paper rolls at Costco maybe a decade ago now, and I'm finally getting through the last of it. This won't be a problem for those of you that buy sheets of parchment paper, but if you've got a roll, you already know that it doesn't usually like to cooperate very well. Spraying non-stick spray or using a little water on the inside of the pan can help the paper stick a little bit and makes this step a lot less frustrating. Plop your fudge into the... I can't say that. Pack your fudge into the pan and... No, still not it. Remove the fudge from the pot and gently place it into a parchment-lined pan and try to press it evenly into the corners. You might have more luck than I did flattening the top with a spatula or a wooden spoon, but I find folding some of the excess paper over the top and smoothing it out by hand works the best. Not only does it protect the fudge from the chaos and clutter that is my fridge, it gives you a perfectly smooth finish on the top that can look nice for YouTube thumbnails. I mean, Christmas gifts. For best results, leave it in the fridge for about 2 hours before you try to cut into it. You can leave it overnight if you have to, but it might get a little bit brittle and start flaking apart when you try to cut it. It's best to cut it while it's still just a little bit malleable, which is just a little below room temperature. One problem I've been struggling with making these videos is that I know how to make food taste good, but I'm still learning how to make it look good. Thankfully, this fudge tastes so good that it wouldn't matter if I was eating it in the dark. I'd still enjoy it just the same. Let me know in the comments how your fudge turned out, and if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more homemade food.